our morning rounds, breeding out disease. We're about to talk with the founders of a company called GenePeeks. They were featured in last night's 60-minute story on advances in the world of genetics. After Ann Morris's son was born with a serious genetic mutation, she wanted to protect other children from a similar struggle.
Every human being walking the planet is a carrier for a rare disease. But what matters is who we choose to partner with reproductively. Like, that's where the risk shows up.
Now she wants to reduce the risk of a bad genetic match for others, well before they start the reproductive process. She just started a company called GenePeeks with Lee Silver, a Princeton University professor who's also a molecular biologist, though his latest idea doesn't take place in a lab. It's entirely virtual.
We are creating digital babies.
Digital babies?
Yes.
So you're simulating the process of reproduction, but on a computer?
Exactly.
Silver says all it takes is a saliva sample to obtain DNA. He then combines the genetic information from both prospective parents in a computer to make 1,000 digital babies.
This is a digital baby?
This is a digital baby.
It contains virtual DNA, which, like real DNA, is represented by those same 4 letters, A, C, T, and G.
This baby has a mutation.
He says that by analyzing the DNA in all those digital babies, he's able to calculate the risk of 2 people conceiving a child with any one of 500 severe recessive pediatric disorders. For now, GenePeeks is available for $2,000 to clients using sperm banks and egg donors to conceive, though its founders say the goal is to expand it to all couples who want to have a baby.
You think everyone who's going to have a baby should go and have a digital baby first?
I see a future in which people will not use sex to reproduce. That's a very dangerous thing to do.
Ann Morris and Lee Silver join us. Good morning.
Good morning.
That was quite a statement.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people, when we watched this piece, said, what is he saying? You're not going to use sex to reproduce? What is he talking about?
That's been going on for a long time, the separation of sex and reproduction. The other way with the birth control pill and contraception, you have sex without reproduction. Since the 1970s and 80s, we've had artificial insemination and in vitro fertilization. Those are all ways in which we have reproduction.
Do you think it's dangerous to reproduce using traditional sex? Why?
Well, I mean, if I can jump in, just to clarify, most people will get great news back from this kind of analysis. Yeah. And they can go back to dinner and a movie, and it's great. But for people like me who are walking around with genes and genetic mutations who may put our children at risk with our reproductive partner, we have a way now to get that information at the earliest possible point in the fertility journey. And that's what this company is about.
What do you say, Lee, that some people say, well, this is like playing God, it crosses the line?
I say that medicine has been doing that for 200 years, since we first developed vaccines in the 20th century of antibiotics, and all of that is looking towards increasing people's likelihood of being healthy and having a normal life.
And then there's a question of designer genes.
Yes, we are, all we are doing is seeing whether 2 people have mutations that are not compatible with each other, and then making, in the future, we'll be able to make sure your child is without disease.
I was just going to say that we've been talking to families about this technology and this kind of innovation for many, many years. And what's really clear from those conversations is what people care about is the health of their future babies.
Yeah, sure, of course.
I mean, if you want smarter kids, you should read to your children. You should put them in preschool. But if you want to protect your future children from serious diseases, this is when this kind of information, this kind of technology becomes really powerful.
Invaluable.
This was one of the most fascinating things for me. So I actually did this test. I actually put saliva in a tube, and then they have, one of their companies is the Manhattan Sperm Bank, where all the men who have donated sperm have also done the same thing. And then they matched me up with 100 men from the Manhattan Sperm Bank. So I
determine what?
Who would be a compatible match. Okay. So digitally, I had sex, essentially, with these 100 men from the Manhattan Sperm Bank, and 25 of them were immediately eliminated because we would have been a bad genetic match.
I hear you, but that's sort of, you don't have a bad match. That's the point of this.
Yeah. Right, for sure.
But if you were trying to go further than that and make sure it was a match that had all kinds of positive things about it, you could do that as well?
Well, that's not what we're doing.
And I know that,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm just
understand.
asking you to go past and
Yeah.
tell me where the science is.
Well, the science makes it possible, and Lee, you can speak to this as well. The science makes it possible to see any genetic trait
Right.
in advance. But what people care about, and certainly what the mission of this organization is to help parents protect their future children from serious diseases.
But you did say that one of the best genetic matches would have been a Peruvian man for me,
exactly
who was a sperm donor, right?
That's right, because his genetic material is very different. So
Than mine.
he didn't carry the same mutations that you carry. And we should say that everybody carries mutations.
Right.
He did, you did, but you're compatible.
So this technology can be used for any single gene mutation. There are hundreds of them. What about, though, and this is in your patent, we brought it up in the 60 Minutes piece, though, that people will use this technology to choose a child for a certain eye color, certain hair color, gender, lots of other things like that, that have nothing to do with preventing disease.
Yeah, that's so-called designer genes.
Designer genes,
That's
yeah.
what I asked.
Yeah, so that, the patent is confusing. And so I want to really be clear on this point that that's not what we're doing, and that's not, again, what people
You've said
care
that 3 or 4 times.
Sure.
I know you're very concerned that somebody thinks
Yeah.
that that's what you're doing rather than,
Yeah.
as in your case, doing it because for health reasons.
Sure. But I want to also be clear about who we are as a company and the mission at the heart of what we're doing. It's also for clarity that I want to have this
Okay, but you can
conversation.
explore these ideas without suggesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We
yeah.
control how the patent's used, which means we're not going to use it except to avoid childhood diseases.
So futuristic.
Fascinating stuff.
Ann Morris, Lee Silver,
Thank you.
thanks so much. And
Thank
there's
you so
more
much.
online. You can see more of the advancement genetics in genetic technology along with my experience at 60minutesovertime.com.